feeling sick. That same night she was lying in the crazy. Well, if you think that he gets away, oh yo yo, yeah yeah yeah. We go in by he and spend the whole day. Oh yo yo, yeah yeah yeah. We eating and drink everything he bring. Oh yo yo, yeah yeah yeah. When we leave there, he mustn't have a thing. Oh yo yo, yeah yeah yeah. It's Christmas, Merry Christmas. It's Christmas, Merry Christmas. Oh yeah. Get it. It's Christmas. Oi. Big Mouth Charlie invite me home by he. Boy, he must be a madman. Entertain this parang band. When the music in we vein and the liquor it we bring. This man could drink on carry band fun and dance. When you see Milan in your hand. Oh yo yo, yeah yeah yeah. The only thing remaining is just fun. Oh yo yo, yeah yeah yeah. People just lock their door run and hide. Oh yo yo, yeah yeah yeah. When they see the signs of this parang sign. Oh yo yo, yeah yeah yeah. It's Christmas, Merry Christmas. It's Christmas, Merry Christmas. Oi. Baila, baila. Lord, get it. This whole night sprung along, climbing with the parang. He drink by everybody. We decided to go by he. When we reach in front the gate, we know it was a mistake. The man wife came out cussing him she 90. He wife quarreling, we feeling bad. Oh yo yo, yeah yeah yeah. He had to entertain we in the yard. Oh yo yo, yeah yeah yeah. The man didn't shame his he tell we come. Oh yo yo, yeah yeah yeah. He bring out two cokes and a nip of rum. Oh yo yo, yeah yeah yeah. It's Christmas, Merry Christmas. It's Christmas, Merry Christmas. The parang does start on Christmas Day. Oh yo yo, yeah yeah yeah. Yeah yeah yeah. We have about 10 homes to clean. Oh yo yo, yeah yeah yeah. We drinking from paint to kerosene. Oh yo yo, yeah yeah yeah. It's Christmas, Merry Christmas. It's Christmas, Merry Christmas. Hey. Last year we went by Valley Ram. He plays mat and hide the ham. Bring one bottle of abash. The thing finish with one lash. Have to leave the man house quick. He say your wife was feeling sick. That same night she was lying in the crazy. Well, if you think that he gets away. Oh yo yo, yeah yeah yeah. We go in by he and spend the whole day. Oh yo yo, yeah yeah yeah. We eating and drink everything he bring. Oh yo yo.
What we gonna do right here is go back, way back, back into time.
Who that? At this point, we'd like to introduce a very promising candidate.
DJ Johnny.
Yeah, don't talk about it. Well, go ahead. Yeah. I did. Fight it up. You know, going.
Walk on the friends from Tobago. Christmas they reaching for me.
for tonight.
A violin and a banjo. They say they always had a plan to give me family a parang. They wake up my mommy right away when they ring out with this love way. My Jeffrey, oh, get up. Hey, like you are here, the neighbor cock crowing, no girl. Madam Jeffrey, oh, get up. Time to put on smoke in your kitchen, no girl. Madam Jeffrey, oh.
Yes, indeed, of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry. Yes, it's Christmassy, but of course, it's a Christmas with a difference. What is that difference? There is, of course, an impending election. An election, of course, that will provide the salvation that we all would have been hoping and looking for. And of course, we know that we can do better, we must do better. And that, of course, those persons who are absolutely dependent, or put another way, while we understand that it will be extremely difficult, of course, to come out in mass as we would like, believing, of course, somehow that will be the solution to our problem here, even though we don't have a culture and a consistency of course, coming out in masses, except, of course, on the occasion of the 1970, of course, the water riots of 1903, and other pockets of mass presence as far as protest is concerned. But of course, we also know that the trade unions have been, of course, engaged for some time, almost from time immemorial since we became independent, and of course, trade unions became, of course, the leading, what I consider to be resistance force. And of course, to deal with, of course, the bread and butter issue for the barefooted man. But outside of that, clearly, in modern times, during the last 9 years, for example, we had the pushback movement. And again, we have, of course, the almost inimitable, if not the effervescence of the trade union movement, all of which have not produced the outcome, but have contributed. The most amount of protests that any session of any government in recent and in past times has been the last 9 years. We're going to do an evaluation in terms of the number of protests that are of different degrees of significance, but the fact of the matter is that is a reality. Whether it be, of course, the Scrap Dealers Association, whether it be pushback movement, whether it be whether it be the trade union movement, whether it be, of course, other entities protesting for one reason or another, including, of course, that movement with Abdul, I believe his name is. All of that. When we look at the numbers, we will see that the most amount of protests would have been over in one session, in one period, in one presence of a government in office, would have been over the last 9 years, and therefore under the Rowley administration. Quite apart from the fact that we have had the most murders in successive records, breaking one after the other under the Rowley PNM administration. Quite apart from that, the most amount, of course, of what I consider to be a destruction and, of course, poor performance of state enterprises, whether it be the NGC, whether it be, of course, the Heritage and Stewardship Fund, and whether it be the economy itself. I mean, it is simply shambolic, diabolical, evil, and they have the audacity, the temerity, and the gall not to, of course, call an early election. Well, the delay is at their own detriment. Let's take in a little more of the music, and then, of course, we'll get on to serious business.
It's only running, only talking, people business, too much comments. Hey, I feel it to put something in your mouth, and you know what I'm talking about, like a piece of cake, a piece of sponge cake, like a drink of scotch. You don't talk too much. Hey, I feel it to put something in your mouth. I sure you know what I'm talking about. I say, oi.
yes, indeed, of course, I thought I would start tonight on the education front. You see, it's important for people to understand that no one has exclusive right for the capacity building of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And therefore, it is a coordinated and cooperative effort by private, individual, and state entities and efforts. It's important that we understand that. Because, of course, as I said, that while, of course, we are not a protesting in mass population, we know that we rely exclusively on the creativity and the people-centered nature of the UNC and Kamala Prasad Bisesa. And therefore, when they would have taken the initiative, of course, to have an education symposium, we on the corridor transformation and elsewhere must also make our contribution. And indeed, that is what we are doing. So in the background, of course, you would see a number of presentations or a number of newspaper articles that will demonstrate and certify that. It is said that there is nothing new under the sun. Well, of course, I believe it is not too late or too early for Kamala Prasad Bisesa, the UNC, to take the initiative, which, of course, the rest of the population, with their creativity, their natural ability, and their experiences, to, of course, engage in the education of our children so that we can generate the capacity that is required in order to, of course, transform Trinidad and Tobago and take it to the next level, because we must do better, we have to do better, we can do better, and, of course, we rely heavily on the current opposition, Kamala Prasad Bisesa, the UNC, to take the initiative. And in government, of course, we expect a rollout that will be smoother than most will anticipate. It is clear that the Rowley administration has failed. It is clear that the PNM has failed, and that therefore they do not have the wherewithal in order, of course, to address the serious problems. Remember, after all, education is about what? As I often said, moving people from the known to the unknown. But more importantly, it is about liberation. It is about knowledge. It is about making certain that you have very little room for what? For error, because you would have been educated in a particular direction. We're going to be talking briefly about that, and we will go back, of course, to the Forex matter that was unfinished last night, but I thought it was important, having, of course, looked at the goings on at that symposium, to, of course, make an input there in the initial stage of the corridor transformation tonight, because I think it is significant, it is an imperative, it is a super and, of course, a very critical area of development, capacity building, in order to move Trinidad and Tobago forward. And therefore, we on the corridor must also play our part, as we have been doing, and you're going to get a little more of it. But let us show off a little bit, because, of course, Laventil self-development efforts, and, of course, it is nestled in an initiative that was taken back in 1984, when, of course, we saw the problem of young people in particular. And I want to focus on this niche situation. You see, I'm not going to go all over the place. I'm not going to pretend that we have a tertiary and, of course, a secondary or a primary or a early childhood focus. No, I have been engaged, as far as the Baptist community is concerned, with all of these levels, and, of course, my personal efforts and, of course, achievements. But that is not important. What is important is that to make a contribution, and that niche that we are talking about are those young people who are either engaged or have the capacity to engage in criminal activities. Let me repeat, the very people that are of concern to the society today, whether they are in the north, like on East Port of Spain, Laventille, Beetham, Silats, or whether they are in the south, like, of course, Gun Hill in Point Fortin, or indeed other pockets, including, of course, Chaguanas, etc., where, of course, those so-called as identified by the police or as nomenclated by the police saying that these are crime hotspots. All right. But inside of there are young people, and we have to accept that are either engaged or have the capacity and the propensity to engage in criminal activity. And that is where my focus has been and will be in contributing, of course, to the education of our children, showing them that they can move from the known to the unknown, that they can, of course, transform themselves. They can, of course, have an attitudinal change that is so critical in order for them to realize, or put another way, having given them, of course, and facilitated them, they will see the alternative to crime and criminality. And therefore, we must be prophylactic. We must be preventive. We must not for one moment be accused of not being proactive, because the other side of that coin is, of course, being reactive, and that is too late. Not like Rowley. Rowley is a self-proclaimed golfer. The Prime Minister of this country is a self-proclaimed golfer. I want to start off, of course, this segment of the discussion like this. A self-proclaimed golfer. And he would have an annual tournament for charity purposes. Very strange, having regard, of course, to his indurate and heartless and brutal disposition. And I say so not sparingly, or not because I have wind in my body and I have a mouth and a voice box so I can bellow. No, it is always based on facts. And why am I saying that? Because I remember very distinctly, around a Christmas time in particular, every parliamentary representative under the Kamala Persad-Bissessa administration, and we know what her record is. She will don, of course, Christmas garments, let's put it that way, and have, of course, an interaction with the people across the country, sharing chairs, toys, and merriment inconsistent, or should I say, concomitant with the season. So we know that. But I want to focus on Dr. Rowley and his indurate nature. Well, of course, you're going to have people playing the role of Ebenezer Scrooge. Well, that is Rowley. Because when, of course, hampers were distributed by the Kamala Persad-Bissessa administration to all MPs across the board, it doesn't matter whether you were UNC constituency or PNM constituency, but Rowley would have been also, of course, the representative for Diego Martin West. And he flatly refused those hampers. You must say? I say Rowley flatly refused those hampers. And what he said as the excuse, he wants to billet it that is something sinister, that is political, whilst he, by his conduct, is creating the political annotation or connotations. So he does it and flatly deprive his burgesses or his constituents from getting those hampers. Let's go straight to the line. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Pleasant good night, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you, my friend.
And pleasant good night to the right-thinking citizens of Trinidad and Tobago
yes,
who is
indeed.
going to vote out the PNM. Mr. Lennox, all this thing happening pertaining to all different type of things happening in the country, and the one which is on the front burner, which is the Auditor General. So you mean to say the rubber stamp president we have there, not even making it look good and make a statement? So she's a robot then. That is why they say that woman is not fit to be president, Mr. Lennox.
But she knows that. But of course, our job is to show the national community, as you have recognized, that those who were skeptical and those who believe that she could be objective in an extremely subjective situation, having regard to her track record. What she said, of course, believe in the Bible of the PNM, something to that effect. Imagine
and carry the gospel of the PNM into your
the
home.
Bible. Just imagine the gospel
and you end
of
up
the
being the
PNM.
president of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, the gospel of the PNM.
So I want to say she gone down in the Guinness Book of Record as the maker a double whammy, I would say. We have the worst prime minister in the Western Hemisphere, and we also have the worst president that we ever see, because we see past presidents must come out and speak out on these type of issues. Because when you hear our Auditor General was trying to be muzzled by a public servant by the name of Colum Burr, and then they take it and they gone all the way to the PP Council, and then they move these two senior council that the government paid. I would really like to know
Mendes and others,
how much taxpayers' dollars was paid to do these two guys? How much are we money paid for these two guys to go and make themselves look so stupid? And the Auditor General is in her right from the beginning. And everybody wants to talk about this and that, and it's 2 point something, if I ain't for correction, $1 billion that is missing or unaccounted for in our treasury. And everybody should, the people they want to argue all different type of thing, and that's something that's amazing, you know. Under no administration since I follow in politics, I never heard where I hear in here right now with the amount of monies that missing from in the treasury or unaccounted for. And we have a president not even making a statement on it. What a shame in our country. Well, we really started we gone past a banana republic, you know. We gone past that under Dr. Rowley stewardship, you know. We gone past a banana republic, you know. I don't know where we reach right now.
well, I know we have not yet totally sunk, but we are sinking, and we are going deeper and deeper into the abyss to complete.
That's correct. So
no
correct.
return. But it's good thing we have good people like yourself, good people like those who will call in tonight, good people who have the experience and a different point of view, and clearly good people who are honest and will not raid the treasury as the way Rowley and his team of bandits have raided the treasury of the country and deprived the poor and the downtrodden.
Because I want to make a comparison with where there is none, but I'm trying to make one. They say that my leader or our leader, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa, right?
Mm-hmm.
She or her spends so much money in her tenure working on behalf of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, and all of us see it. Who didn't want to see it wasn't looking. And on top of that, they want to tell us that she did thief this, and she did put this, and she did do that, and she did the other. And when you realize the amount of things that Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa was doing with less in her tenure, 5 years and 4 months. And now you're seeing half of $1 trillion spent, and we barely have anything, if nothing at all, to show that working for the people from the money that's spent. So I just say that to say, well, what really wrong with Trinidadians, boy? What really wrong with we, boy? It shouldn't have no comparison when it comes. We're supposed to be just sitting down waiting and begging this man to call the election, and Dr. Rowley mustn't get a seat in this with the amount of things that are taking place under his watch, and he did promise the citizens and them that he can do better. And it's the worst I've ever seen, and every day, as you say, it's getting more worse, if it's so to speak.
Yes.
People dead.
It's all right. You could break up the language. I'm sure people understand what you're saying. And that's the function of language, yeah.
That's correct. So I just say that to say to try to the listening public, it has no comparison. Make sure your children who are eligible to vote that get a laptop and the laptop do well for them. Remember that because Dr. Rowley gave them 4 marijuana trees to always stay high. And Kamala Prasad Visesa give them a laptop. So the ones who get the laptop were eligible to vote. Or you don't play with all your future. Mr. Lennox, you have a blessed night.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that wonderful contribution as per usual. But I've often said that to whom much is given, much is expected. I've often said that. But I have also, of course, expatiate and expressed my deep concern for the conduct of the present administration in terms of delivery, or put another way, lack thereof. But I think it is also important, as the caller rightly said, to be clear in our minds. And I want to use, of course, the experience of the victory of Donald Trump in the United States to understand what I've been saying all the time, because I would normally say that the devil has its imps as well. I can't say disciples and I can't say angels. So I said it's imps as well. So that whilst Donald Trump would have gotten a landslide, he win, of course, the presidency, the both houses of their parliament, so to speak, Rowley will have, and the PNM will have some support. But the fact of the matter is that the victory will be ours and must be ours. Let's go straight to the line. President, good night, welcome.
Lennox, it's Ken.
Hey, how are you doing, man? Well, welcome.
All right, man, all right.
Yes.
Welcome. Hey, I'll try to make a comment on that last caller. Let me tell you something going on.
Yes.
Yeah. Rowley put also the last president they have.
Yes.
Rowley put these people, these women, only because they call president.
Mr. Cruz, just hold on. I have another person on the line.
Okay.
Mr. Cruz?
They have
go ahead, caller. Yes.
The president have no say.
Yes.
He put his last one and this one, Bangalore. They have no say. That's why you're not hearing anything about this money that's spent on this judgment they bring against Ember.
Yes.
The president, Rowley put those women who were just for show, and when it end of the day, that when things happen with him, it will pardon him. I said that before.
Yes.
Right? And this is why Rowley is on all these cabinets and in boards and all these doing all these things. Because they have her here, there, some deal they make with her, and this is what is going to happen. When this is happening, they're going to They're gonna pardon them, all of them. That's why they have the president. Therefore, it's nothing else more. She does not. They does not do anything. All you know that. What else they do? Collecting government and taxpayers' money and nothing else more.
They make slight of the term ceremonial. I mean, if you can't be more ceremonial than that. It means non-participation whatsoever, particularly when the government that is in place you are beholden to for your presidency or your appointment.
Right. It's just a name. But they ain't do nothing. Rowley making all the decision what they want to do and will do what he wants to do.
Yes.
They have no say.
Yes.
And that's it, Lennox.
Yes, that's it.
I think I must answer that guy question.
Yeah.
You know?
Very good,
All
very good. Yeah, I think you have hit the nail on the head. You have hit the nail on the head.
All right.
All right then. Thanks. Yes. So once again, let me reiterate. The devil has its imps, right? And therefore, you see that with the elections of Donald Trump. Pleasant good night, because of course he would have gotten all the votes, but it's the same thing in Trinidad. UNC wouldn't get all the votes, and there will be imps supporting the PNM and the Rowley. But at the end of the day, the landslide and the massive victory is ours. Ours meaning here the UNC and Kamala Prasad Bisesa. Let's go to the line. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
A pleasant good night, Lennox.
Pleasant good night to you as well.
I must say it's nice to see you here tonight. You look well. I guess you needed the rest.
Yes, thank you.
You really needed the rest, Lennox. Lennox, people keep forgetting that our president is just ceremonial.
Yes.
They cannot do anything. They are just window dressing. And I don't know when they're going to do away with we having a president, because that is money wasted. That is money wasted, and things could have been done with that money. You remember when Anthony Carmona, in his time in office, the crime situation was high, and he called in Dillon as Minister of National Security because he's in charge of the army and all this kind of thing, right?
Yes.
And you remember how vexed Rowley got?
Yeah, he was irate. In fact, he called him
yes.
I am battled president. Even though at the same time, on the other side of his mouth, he was saying that they have a very cordial relationship. That's right. Hypocrisy to the hilt. But go ahead.
But Lennox, I mean, you want to use the army. This man is the commander-in-chief of the army.
Yes.
And
well,
the military.
Whosoever the president is the commander-in-chief of the
right.
The armed forces, yes.
And you want to use it with or without this man knowledge. The man called you in as a concerned citizen to talk about the crime situation because it was just as high.
Yes, yes.
And Rowley vexed because of that. But you could go on command from the president, the meritless.
Yeah.
You see how it's different strokes of PNM, folks?
Yeah. Yeah.
But Lennox, tonight, Dr. Gopi Singh was on Mikey's program.
Okay.
Lennox, you thought last night was good. You should have heard that man tonight. Take a listen when you get a chance.
I certainly will.
Lennox, that although I know about all the things that Kamala's government did, right? The amount of things that I didn't know, I found out tonight.
All right.
Lennox, they went deep. They went deep into bullying, every school bullying and all this kind of thing, right? Everything Kamala's government touched on. Whereas you want to know now, what is Dolly doing? What is this government doing for our education system? Lennox, they even had teachers going for their master's degrees to uplift the children. Because when they are uplifted, the children will be uplifted. Right? And the things that I was hearing from this man tonight, Lennox, I was shocked. I was shocked to see the wide span Kamala thought about, Kamala's government, including Dr. Gopi Singh, of course, they thought about everything to help these children. Lennox, one of the things that were my pet peeve was that every year school reopens, I used to send out an appeal on the radio because they've not been on the radio station a long time, right?
Yes, yes.
Asking the teachers and them to pay attention to the children. Lennox, some of the children, now dyslexia is something we only heard about, but we never experienced it, right?
Yes.
And over the years, you're hearing about it. I did a whole research on it, right? I learned about it because, I mean, these are things I'd like to know about.
Yeah.
And I used to make an appeal, Lennox, and the teachers and them. If you find that a child is lagging behind, and as a teacher, you would know that, it's not because the child don't want to learn, it's because the child is struggling. It's like an uphill battle with them. Right? Pay attention, but they never, a lot of children fell through the system. And even up to when Kamala and them came into office, I was still making that appeal. And you know, Lennox, tonight, Dr. Gopi Singh is telling us about it, how they tested the children and all this kind of thing to see their ability. I put it in my own way, their ability to learn to cope.
Yeah,
and let me tell you something.
They did some diagnostic testing yesterday for dissecting.
Right. And Lennox, let me tell you something, related,
disability issues.
Dyslexia, right. Dyslexia is not a sickness. It is not a sickness, right? And the children might not be good. Well, when I say not be good, they might not be able to understand English well because they see everything backwards, but they are good in maths. They are maths whiz. And those are some of the things that that's what I learned over the years. Because you know, Lennox, when you have children, right, you're always learning something.
Yes.
At least that was me. That was me. I learning everything because I have to teach them, right? And when I teach them, they will do better. I spent all their years with them. I didn't leave them on their own to sink or float. No, I was right there with them, head on head, until they leave school,
yes,
right? And when you are hearing Dr. Gopi Singh tonight talking about the education system under Mrs. Prasad Bisessa's government, Lennox, again, I will say, you are wondering, what is Keith Rowley and Dolly doing with our children? So many children are falling through the system and nobody's looking for them. Nobody is out there to help them. Lennox, you know how many children I know could not handle the online schooling when there was COVID? A friend of mine's, and one of the things, you know, when talking to her, she had the husband used to sell in the market.
Mm-hmm.
And I would talk to her, and that is when I told her, I say, your child is sounding as though he's dyslexia. It is not a sickness. I say, you buy simple storybooks and give it to him to read. Let him read it for you. You understand? And Lennox, she did it and she started improving. And then when COVID struck, the child couldn't handle the online schooling and the child dropped out of school. And if I could identify one Lennox, you can imagine how many was out there. And Mrs. Prasad says, and then I identified it, how many children fell out of the school system. And Lennox, last night was good at that education forum. And tonight, when Dr. Gopi Singh spoke, it was fantastic. Take a listen. Thanks a lot, Lennox, and have a good night. I'm listening to you.
Thank you very much. And like last night, my conduct in relation to listening to good advice is consistent, because I did, of course, back up to the starting of this program, I was listening to the contributions, and that is why I came up, of course, with the issue of looking at that niche of those young people who are either engaged or have the potential to engage in criminal activities. We are talking about out of school youths and in school youths, and the program that we developed on our own volition, having recognized, did several studies, diagnostic and and prescriptive, that training center became part of the prescription or the solution. In fact, I want to tell you that right here tonight on George Street, that this facility is intended, of course, to do exactly that. So we are on the same page. People with like minds think the same way as we look to develop our human capacity, our human resource. After all, that is the most important resource. Without it, of course, nothing else thing in the earth, above the earth, and of course on the earth itself will not be able to be converted into, should I say, utilities or things that the human being can use in order to advance their stay on this earth, without, of course, that kind of mind development or brain development. And it will be unfortunate, as it has shown, that when you would have done all of that, to have a brain drain of the type that is, of course, having been witnessed over the last 9 years, because nurses haven't been trained here by virtue of the resources of you and I, citizens, at citizens' expense. They simply migrate to other places and carry their skills there. Well, of course, the point I am making is that at the end of it all, we must be able to have a system whereby we can, of course, accommodate our trained people across the board in order to make certain that they make their contribution to Trinidad and Tobago and advance Trinidad and Tobago's cause. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Hello, good night.
Good night.
Yeah, I'm calling from this San Fernando.
Yes, Mr. San Fernando. Go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, I understand what the last caller was saying about the education system.
Yes.
Right? That education minister, I mean, I always say it, should have been fired a long time ago. Right? Because with the students from the SEA exam, when I realized how many students were failing year after year, I mean, if 1 year that, let's say, you have a total of what, each year is about 20,000 of them writing the exam?
Yes, they're about, about 20,000. Because 20 go into the system every year, and about 20 comes out of the system at the same time as they pass through the various forms over the 5 years that they will spend in the secondary system and in the primary system.
And you have a failure rate of about 9,000, right? And then it gone to 10, it gone back down to 9, then 10, and then 10 again. I mean, what's being done to really do something? Because that is almost half of the population of the students failing, isn't it?
Yes, indeed.
So that figure is too high. So something should have been done to bring down that. And I think under Tim will be saying it wasn't that high, because I remember that diagnostic testing was doing a great deal for the students.
Human service to I won't say weed out, because that might be too strong of a word, but certainly select those who require additional remedial work.
And then again, you see, the Kamala Prasad BSS administration was doing a hell of a lot, because look at the laptops. When you take away, laptops was given out. I mean, I hear people talking a lot of foolish talk about the laptops and Rowley take it away for different foolish reasons. You understand? But it was given to the students for, I would say, Kamala. The policy of Kamala was way different from that of Rowley, because Rowley had no plan.
Yeah.
Right? Because, I mean, I'm going general here now too, because I'm looking at even with the situation with the hospital. Here in San Fernando, she turned around the big building and Manning Bill on Chancery Lane there, right, into a hospital.
Yes, that was our administrative center for San Fernando. It was converted to a teaching hospital, yes.
But the point I'm making, even with that, the priority, when you look at the demographic population of the South, San Fernando has it has a population of well over 100,000 people. And on a daily basis, people would be sick or people would get health problems. So she had to decide, with that level of people that were taking sick on a daily basis, what would happen if, let's say, the old hospital was not repaired or it was under, because I remember the doctors were complaining about they didn't have space and the hospital was always leaking. If it wasn't leaking, was problems with the building was falling apart. All of that, right?
Yeah.
So if she came into office and she met a building that was supposed to be something else, really, but she had a priority now to weigh that situation and say, okay, because you will have people coming from way up Rio Claro, Mayaro to use the San Fernando Hospital. And if it is not under good conditions and you have the space to house that, then house it for healthcare. So this kind of thing where I hear people saying that she changed the decision on Manning, right? And it's crap that she did and all of that. But it was a priority of healthcare. So, and she had the space, so that is why she turned it into that.
Yes.
So this is my contribution tonight. So, and we'll talk again.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I just want to confirm, of course, the caller's position on that San Fernando hospital. It outgrew, or put another way, it became too small, inadequate to service that wide section of deep south in general, and maybe parts of the southern part of the central part of Trinidad. And therefore something had to be done, and done quickly, quite apart from the fact that it is an old facility and therefore structural integrity and of course accommodation, beds, etc. It meant therefore that it was a priority well placed. It is only, of course, Rowley and they will try, of course, to be in their exuberance, to be as myopic and stupid as possible. Would find it difficult, of course, to recognize that not diversification. It is called in administrative term. It is called decentralization was a priority compared, of course, to the health of a vast section of the national community that was inadequately being served. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night to you, Mr. Lennox, and all your listeners.
Yes, indeed.
And to share the life. And
Yes.
let's make a new friend for the 2025 general election. Mr. Lennox, the word you are looking for is repurpose. They had repurposed a building in Waiting that could be served better than an administration building.
Yeah, but that's one of the words. But the
order-
word I was looking for was decentralization, because the Manning administration wanted to move some of the services to the building, and it wasn't. They never had, of course, the health or that building in mind for that purpose. So because of their decentralization program, but of course, what happened is that Kamala and they, of course, repurposed the building. So so your assessment comes in there very smoothly. Go ahead.
That's right. And that is why, in Siparia, she had opened administration complex. So they could go for your death certificate, birth certificate, your senior citizen grant, and all the government services. And on Broadway, they had different buildings allotted for government services. And that's how South get a birth paper, that you could go down in South here and apply for your birth paper and a marriage certificate on certain days. And then it to take up the administration slack, and she bring it closer to the people. And just like all the health centers and them was open on a 24/7, because she said that in your community, when they get sick, you have to go to this place and overcrowded, and the more critical bed care patient is minimized.
Yes.
So you have it first-hand responders, and critical go to the general hospital. But what I would like to add to it is that people say that we had changed a good building for its purpose, but why it is the PNM run and build a car park on the compound where is needed for more beds in South. And that is why she built the Children's Hospital.
That's been a priority for you. I must intervene here. That's been a priority for you. It's totally warped, totally incongruent, and asinine. Go ahead, my friend.
You can interrupt anytime, Mr. Lennox, because tonight I am gentle to you and I am not brutal. I'm apologizing in
last time. Last time.
So,
try to categorize me and put me in the box of Rowley. No. I had to resist that vehemently, but go ahead.
And I saw you take a day off, so I will want you to remain on the air all the time. That is why now our esteemed political leader had decentralized the waiting time, that it need a Cuba, it need a hospital. So she put a pediatric and a baby care in Cuba, and plus it fully equipped to serve the Point Lisas industrial estate in all natural disaster accident may occur, because there is a heat industry with highly flammable chemicals, which is burn is more, and we had a burn unit. Yes. So, Mr. Lennox, right? So these are the things. And when you were in Laventille with the MLIO, right? Movement, you can recall that the non-governmental organizations and registered, it had over 2,000 non-governmental organizations under the Ms. Kamla Prasad UNC government, serving the people with proper accountability, and they were giving out certain assistance. That is why in education, the South Campus was designed, because in Port-au-Spain, St. Augustine, you were paying more for a room than for a term of education, because the renting of a room was more than paying for a term or to study in UE. So, Mr. Lennox, my true meeting tonight with you is that I would like to tell Ricky Sukai, right? And I now see why it is Rowley's taking this set of people without basic common entrance knowledge and common sense. Ricky Sukai, sir, you must try to educate yourself a little bit before you go on national TV. In the early days, not so far away, in all the different counties, it had the Ministry of Works and Transport, where every division had in the Ministry of Works, a road repair crew, a bridge repair crew, fixing signs, and a chain and painting white lines in the roads and them. So, Mr. Ricky Sukai, it's not that now you need to put back and build back in each county a service, because it is the PNM government under Patrick Manning closed down the Ministry of Works to give all these contractors and everything, a Baba Green plant, all the work, and say that the contractors are getting it done faster and cheaper. And you see where you go, Mr. Sukai?
Yes.
So here what's going on. So, Mr. Lennox, hey, I would like to say why it is Imbe is not before the court. But you remember, right? I'll call back and tell you the rest. Have a good one.
I link to the corridor transformation. Well, only today we discovered that we had switched the previous night's program to another page that we have called Alfred John. So if you are missing any of the previous programs that you would like, of course, like from Sunday and maybe just about 2 or 3 days before, you go to Alfred John and key in that, and you will get, of course, the corridor. Only today we had reverted to Love Laventille. So tonight you will get Love Lavender. So those of you who grew accustomed to Alfred John, you'll have to switch it to, of course, Love Lavender once again to get the corridor and therefore this program tonight. All right, I want to make that. We are exploring the possibility of bringing it on both channels, on Alfred John and, of course, on Love Lavender. But for the time being, that is where the cookie crumbles, so to speak. So once again, apart from, of course, share, apart from like, apart from subscribe, so that, of course, we can get this message to all and sundry, let me say that from tonight, you can revert back to Love Lavender, and of course, you'll be able to get the corridor transformation from 8 o'clock to, of course, 10 o'clock, ostensibly. But of course, you know, these days we are going way beyond 10 o'clock. And last night was another night. And of course, I thought it was important to take a day off the ground report in order to sort of refresh and generate the effervescence that is required now to motivate and to encourage, and then of course to give me some time to, of course, study some of the material that came out of that educational symposium hosted by the political leader of the UNC, and therefore I'm in a better position, of course, to make the contribution tonight, and that is why I have decided, well, listen, I'm going to focus on that niche area, and I want to say without boasting, nobody in Trinidad and Tobago yet have been able to do what we did in Laventille for those young people who today is a serious concern for the society. Let me repeat, no other organization have been able to devise on their own volition. In fact, it was Mr. Robinson, the late Prime Minister and President of this country, who used to not only visit us almost every month, but when we opened the program in 1986 in Laventille, he famously said, and it resonates with me, it is indelibly implanted in my mind, when he said, Mr. Smith, all you not only bring my whole cabinet into Laventille, but you bring the whole world. And what he meant was that when we launched that program in Parsi Street, Upper Parsi Street, from where you can see the Caroni Plains, and you can see the Gulf of Paria, and you can also see the Labas. But the fact of the matter is, when he made that statement, he was making a statement to recognizing the creativity, the vision, and the ability of the people. In fact, he turned to me and he said, Mr. Smith, this is about self-development, self-initiative, and self-determination. And for that, the government of which he led would, of course, support such an initiative. And he did. He did. I want to tell you the last thing he did before he called the general elections of 1991. That is why Manning and them hated Lennox Smith. And they were prepared, of course, to sacrifice such an initiative. Let me tell you briefly, over 6,000 persons between 1984 and about 2000 graduated from that program. Yes, over 6,000. In a situation where, when we did the analysis, remember, there was a common interest at the time, and of course, we were before there was universal secondary education, so that everybody goes to secondary school. They didn't have that at that time. In fact, that time also had the myopic education policy of course, half-day school. Remember that? And we, of course, saw, as the caller rightly said, some 9,000 young people would have not found spaces in the secondary system, but more of that 9,900 of them would have come from Lavatil alone. And when you look at, of course, on a per year basis, when you check up the amount of years, in 10 years, the 10 nines are 90. That's 900 you're talking about. Understand that? 9,000, sorry, 9,000 you're talking about. And imagine they exist, and then another year passes and another 900 is placed on top of the 90,000 that is, the 9,000 that is already there. And we can go on, and therefore your common sense will tell you, just as today, when we have a situation where the amount of failures and persons who are not getting their full certificate, 5 subjects in CXE, and let us assume that is the same 9,000 that is, of course, not getting that, having regard. No, I think we can talk about, because we have these statistics. I think what they said, there was a certain amount that was failing. I'm going to get the statistic. Don't hold me to it. But the point I am making is that imagine 20,000 going in, 9,000 failing at the end of their 5 years in the secondary system, and over 5 years they pile on top each other, and therefore the numbers increase. You could understand why we have such a devious youth criminal caste or criminal group or criminal element in the society. Let me go to the line. A pleasant good night.
Lennox, a pleasant good night again.
Yes.
Now, one for the road.
Go ahead.
Another one for the road. Lennox,
yes,
correct me if I am wrong, right? Although I am really wrong. Didn't Dr. Gopi Singh put on the Hansard that the partnership government built 106 schools and left I think close to 100 in various stages of construction?
Yes.
And it is on the Hansard for any weed smoker to go and find it?
Yes, that's right, yes.
Right. And didn't they start from foundation to finish?
Oh yes. The few, because I was responsible on the ground report for monitoring all of that, and we were able to confirm what Gopi Singh was saying. In fact, Rowley was saying at one time that they couldn't find the 100 schools. Well, of course, eventually Gopi Singh went and confirmed there's 106, and of course, and there were a few of them that were left incomplete, but let's say some 75 to 80% complete, but they left them there in Faro, and I can tell you it was an awful sight. I see completed schools, especially I visited about one in Kurep, one in just southeast of the Banara Stadium, and then there was a completed, of course, early childcare center overgrown by bushes, and everything wasn't it. The lights were up, the place was painted, looking pristine, but the only occupation were, of course, nature, bush
with the bird vine.
And vine.
The bird vine.
Yes.
Yeah. Lennox, right here in Sawo, Fabo Government Schools, boys and girls. Every day for several years, the children were put on buses and sent a building in Turnapuna. The partnership government rebuild those schools from foundation to finish. So when people smoke their bad weed and want to come and say that it's the PNM built all these the secondary schools and so, didn't the partnership government build the Shiva Boys and Poverty Girls schools, and the PNM government leave it to rot?
That's right. Now I'm telling you, I saw it with my own two eyes. I couldn't believe it,
Lennox,
that these people are so wicked and vindictive.
this is it.
Yeah. As they did to the beach school. Don't forget that it started with the beach.
Right,
Yes.
the beach high school.
Yeah, beach high school.
That's right.
Yeah. They left it there
Lennox,
for 5 years.
And every time you pass, because I have to pass the schools to go into the Kwesi, you would see it. The beautiful schools that the two schools that they built, and the PNM left it to deteriorate. And it was only last year they decided to finish those schools and bring the children back down here. So when people want to come, when they smoke the bad weed and then want to come and talk nonsense, that the PNM government, that the partnership never built any secondary schools, right? And whichever Cinderella want to wear the shoe, let them go right ahead, right? Because you see me, I hate lies, Lennox. I hate lies, okay? Because don't come and tell me. And Lennox, I have it was a pullout from the newspapers where the partnership government with most of the schools, a lot of Anglican schools, a lot of denominations.
Well, across the board, that's how the Baptist community, the across the board, got their phones.
Lennox,
two schools.
Yeah, Lennox, from early childhood education to secondary schools that they were building, because Kamala saw the need. Because Lennox, imagine up to now in 2024, we have children still in temples and mosques and things being schooled. Why that should be when they have schools out there? And then they want to come and lie and say the partnership government didn't build schools? But you see, Lennox, because as I spoke about it, they feel they can criticize it. But it's not me only ignorant people criticizing. It's the good work of the UNC. It's the good work of the UNC.
Well,
Lennox,
I think we should settle that matter once and for all. Because, I don't like to get vexed. And I get vexed with this one because the new iteration.
Man, Lennox. Get vexed.
Yeah, the new iteration of the focus on education as the liberator for Trinidad and Tobago continues unabated by the UNC and Kamala Prasad Bisesa with that symposium yesterday. And I want to make certain that is the salvation for Trinidad and Tobago, among other things, because you cannot mismanage and expect, of course, to continue in the position that Rowley and they would have held. It simply is like water on dockback or oil and water. It simply cannot mix. They are incompetent. That is Rowley and his government, and they must be jettisoned from office.
Lennox, and when you get vexed again, you must put up pictures in the schools. But I want to ask you a question here tonight, Lennox.
Go ahead.
Right? Were you not made a senator? Were you not given positions under
Yes, I was. Yes,
government?
a temporary senator. Yes, I was.
Right. When Mrs. Prasad Bisesa came into office, right, did you not have your own political party?
Yes, I did. Love is. I still have it. We're going to be talking about that in as part of this program. Love Lavatil Outreach for Vertical Enrichment. The symbol is, of course, the rocket, and is registered with the EBC.
You see, Lennox, that's why I tell you, God give me...
Just like any one of the other parties, whether it be PNM, UNC, MSJ, NTA, etc. Just as them, we register with we are registered with the
EBC.
Yes.
The EBC, right? Lennox, you see, that is why I always say I am proud that God gave me a photogenic memory, right? Lennox, just like now at present, just like how Philip Alexander decided to set aside his party and support Mrs. Prasad Bisesa, aren't you doing the same thing?
Exceptionally so.
Because you, right? Because you see, you are seeing
is constant like the Northern Star.
Right. and you, because you are seeing the goodness of the UNC.
Very long
right?
time now, yes.
So I don't know why people feel that people like to make mischief to say, look out, you supporting the UNC and Mrs. Pasabi Sensen never offered you a job. But you
Well,
had your political
listen,
party.
Let me disabuse that one time because you're really getting me vexed. Under Pandey, I was made a director for the first time. For the first time, I met Mr. Amar as chairman of the SBDC, the Small Business Development Company. Was in that forum because I was made a director of SBDC under the Pandey administration. In fact, it was made public down at the fish market in Sealand. It was a very public thing.
Lennox,
of course,
Lennox,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm ticking it off. I'm ticking it off while you're talking.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm ticking it off. You go ahead. You tell us.
Under Kamara Prasad Misesa, I was made a director, in fact, the vice chairman of the East Port of Spain Development Company, as well as, of course, yes. A director.
Let them follow bad company. Let them follow bad company, and you'll see where they're going to end up.
They don't know.
Yeah.
Ignorance is bliss.
Eggs.
And they will end up like Blissy Prasad with their heads amputated for the nonsense that they would want to harbor in a God-given cranium, which of course is supposed to have people exercise common sense, but common sense is not as common as one would expect with, of course, those sycophants and of course,
Lennox,
naysayers.
who want to talk about that I brass and crass, you understand? I will be brass and crass for the right thing.
Yes.
For the right thing, Lennox.
Yes.
Lennox, thanks a lot again.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. So, yes, people, all that occurred, and you would get more of it as we go closer and closer to the elections. That is the ultimate. But yes, I'm glad that Ms. Santa Cruz brought out that of course she has done an excellent job as our external correspondent. I think I want to thank her for that, because normally I will not mention these things. But if it is an issue, part of her portfolio, I should say, is to monitor the chats. I don't respond, notice that, and I don't look at them. But I expect, of course, the persons will indicate to me from time to time some of the trends that are taking place on the chats, people, of course, making their comments and so on, and we need to remedy that. But let me go straight, of course, to disabusing, of course, the present.
When you hear Mrs. Passad Bitsessa say that they built 100 schools while they were in office, I heard of that nonsense last week again. They built 100 schools. I want to ask the media to ask Mrs. Passad Bitsessa to give you, the media, a list of the 100 schools that they built when they were in government.
I think that he spoke about on the political platform approximately a week or week and a half ago. And that is that he wanted us from the opposition
Let's go straight to the line one time. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Yes, good night, Mr. Lennox, the big good man.
Yes, man.
Let me ask you something now, big good man.
Go ahead.
If somebody could talk Spanish, right? Listen to Spanish talking, reading Spanish, how the hell they can translate?
Well, one goes with the other, so it will be difficult for
so there's
one
how
to
we
rationalize
have
that.
so much advanced people we can't understand anything.
All right.
Now,
Okay.
I wanted Andy to translate something using artificial intelligence so that when the artificial intelligence talk, it would flow rather than a person who's speaking Spanish, English, wouldn't have to have him stop, then the person translate, stop, translate. When you have it in the other language, it will flow.
Yeah, well, that happens in courts and so on, and even in international media.
Exactly. This is what we're
when
talking
you go to
about.
international conference where different
about
languages are spoken, you have a system where people translate one time verbatim, they call it. Yeah.
Yes. I said that done stuff.
All right,
I know
then
they
let's
could
not,
cost.
as I
Well,
say,
let me
let's not-
talk a little bit here about something.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right?
Let's not recriminate. Let's get down to the business of
Nah, well,
of development.
who's saying them things? You must do them the same thing as you're
I
doing
hear
it,
you.
because
I
people
hear you,
getting vexed now, eh?
But I hope that was
A
not
lot of
directed to
people
you.
watching.
Yes.
A lot of people watching. Right? They're watching you, they're watching me, they're watching everybody. It have a lot of sick people out here, you know.
Yeah.
People have to be very careful. You understand?
Yeah, that goes
You
without
can't go
saying.
about
That
the
goes without
place
saying.
so all the time.
Yeah.
So try and see how you could pick up on them a little bit, because they will climb up the wrong tree.
I got a disturbing message after the program last night that I intend to address. I don't want to say who
Right.
and why and how.
You
but
tell me don't
I
do
am the kind of
something.
person here who will be
You
direct.
tell
but I
me
will not
don't
impress.
do something, and I try my best, I tell you that.
Yes.
Okay?
All right, yeah,
we talk personal.
Yeah, we will get
and
with
I
that.
tried
We'll
my
get with it.
best.
That's my approach, yeah.
And I watching thing on the chat, and it have my people too taking record.
All right, okay.
It going vice versa.
Yeah, so I will certainly make an intervention. As I said, I don't like these matters are merely distractions, and the important thing I like.
Talk to your friends and them. Talk to your friends and them.
That
You
goes
have
without saying.
friends,
That's what I just said.
talk
That's
to
what
your
I said.
friends, your people.
Okay.
Nice.
Right, let's get on to business. That's it? All right, okay. I thought she had something additional. I know normally she would bring some. But let's get back, of course, to the matter over which I got vexed. And I'm saying to you, you sycophants and you apologists and you naysayers and you dunderheads, and you wouldn't learn, or put another way, you wouldn't read and learn. Because you have to read first. You have to study, you have to research, and then talk. Let's get down to the businessman. Let's start back with Rowley and all. He is head of the government, and he don't know that the UNC built 100, not 100. Look, he didn't even know the amount. It's 106 now. Listen to him.
When you hear Mrs. Prasad Bitsesa say that they built 100 schools while they were in office, I heard of that nonsense last week again. They built 100 schools. I want to ask the media to ask Mrs. Prasad Bitsesa to give you, the media, a list of the 100 schools that they built when they were in government.
I think that he spoke about on the political platform approximately a week and a half ago. And that is that he wanted us from the opposition to give him the list of schools that we have constructed during our period 2010 to 2015. But it is incumbent for me, as the former Minister of Education, to give the names of the schools, because the Honorable Prime Minister has asked for the lists of the schools. Under the management of Mrs. Bitsesa as Prime Minister, the Ministry of Education constructed and completed 69 early childhood education centers, 31 primary schools, 6 secondary schools. In addition, additional blocks were built at another secondary school. And for answering the Prime Minister's question, the 31 primary schools completed, and it will include those schools that were opened in 3 of the sitting ministers now in government, including the Prime Minister. The Rosilac Presbyterian Primary School, Riversdale Presbyterian, Tadapuna Government Primary, Balmain Presbyterian, Pinal Rock Road SDMS, Mount Pleasant GPS Soledad Road North Claxton Bay, Palo Seco Government Primary School, Lengua Presbyterian Primary School, Arima New Government Primary School, Tulsa Trace SDMS, Barrackmore Asja Rees Road Barrackmore, St. Barbara Spiritual Shelter Baptist, Echo Village Anglican Primary School, Mount.
Let me pause there, St. Barbara's, and in case you have doubt, in case you're saying that is some kind of illusion, that is some kind of hoax. Well, St. Barbara's Spiritual Shouter Baptist School, primary, I am on the board of directors of that school. Let me repeat. It is located, of course, opposite the Maloney Housing Estate on the Churchill Roosevelt Highway. I, Lennox Smith, the member, the head of it, of course, is Archbishop Her Grace, Archbishop Barbara Gray Burke. Not only that, on that same compound, not only would you see a primary school built by the UNC, but you'll also see just south of it an early child care center as well. The first for the Shouter Baptist of Trinidad and Tobago. Not for the Baptist, the Shouter Baptist. You see how I am defining it. So, hollow your tail. You cannot obfuscate and you cannot blindside, or you cannot, of course, put blinders on anybody because they exist, they are there. What we want to know is the tonload of billions that was spent, whether it's school or otherwise. Where is that money? Well, we see some, of course, some community centers. We see a library or two. We have, of course, a highway to nowhere, the highway to Manzanilla. We see, of course, $1 billion to say spent on the highway to Point Fortin, but it stops or begins, depending on your perspective, just south of San Fernando, where it was supposed to come through Debay and so on and go to the back there so as to open up agricultural holdings in Trinidad and Tobago, so that we can deepen our efforts, not just in agriculture, but to generate food substitute, so that we do not have to depend on that $7 billion a year in imported food. Or more importantly, if of course the problems pop up, we will have food security. Food security, people. Don't waste time. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Good night, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you. Yes.
Okay, hold on a second. Yeah.
Now don't forget the Presbyterian School in Woodbrook too.
No, I forget. Yeah, he will say it. He will say it.
My grandson was 4 years.
Yes.
Going to that school. Now he's 16 years.
Just opposite to the
Presbyterian School. Don't forget that.
Yeah, just opposite
right on Chagrit Road.
Yeah, just opposite the radio station that we were at, 104.7. So we used to see it every morning when we were down there. Yeah, and of course, don't forget, of course, since you're talking, I know you are a Laverton person, but I want to tell you as well, what we used to call Market School. Market School, I see that now mobilizing some contractor to do something there, Market School. It's still just opposite, or obliquely opposite Paradise Heights in Morvan. They left it fallow. They left it alone. But it was started. And that school that she spoke about in Woodbrook was started. But they left it because these people are not lying or they're not dishonest. They said that some of them would have been in different stages of completion and or construction. Understand that. I don't know if you don't understand, you sycophants, or you apologists, or you dunderheads. What are you telling me about? That school, St. Barbara's, was completed, I know that for sure, and operating all now as we speak. Go up and find it. But go ahead, Tim Gopi Singh, go ahead. I thought I should pause you for that cause because I had to, blow my own trumpet,
Government Primary School, Febo Village Government Primary, Enterprise Government Primary, Union Presbyterian in Hermitage Road, Manzanilla Nareva Government Primary, Lower Komoto Government Primary, Kanhai Presbyterian, Charlieville Presbyterian, Egypt Village Government Primary, and the Minister of Public Administration would remember when we opened her school together at Rosehill RC at 6 Lacour Street, Laventille Road, East Dry River.
Let me pause there too, man, because that's right up the road there. Right up the road. The last time you see me ducking from bullets, well, it's up on that side, the bullets was coming from. Yes, indeed. But look at the school. Look at some tremendous investment. And let me tell you this. To every school place that would have been provided to the community, it has an economic impact on the parents and or the family or the neighborhood or the community, you know. Right now, the Piccadilly government and that of the St. Philip's government are in a state of disrepair, and they are supposed to be sharing with the Tranquility Government School Primary. The point I am making is that when you remove school places in communities like these, poor communities, communities where people are struggling to eat and to, of course, generate 3 square meals a day, and facing, of course, unemployment or menial employment opportunities merely to survive, to, of course, engage in what is called subsistence living. Subsistence living. Let me tell you this. As I made the argument some time ago for the Hockett Baptist School, one of the newest schools that was constructed under, of course, the NAR administration. Yes. When, of course, one of the arguments I made was this, that the parents will have to suffer the inconvenience and the pressures on their minuscule salaries to send children to school in Port of Spain or farther afield. And there's a cost attached. When before they used to walk to school and therefore there was no cost attached. I went to Hockett, so I can tell you. And I grew up, of course, to make certain that when the NR was in office, that, of course, that school be reconstructed, because it was sharing what we call new school, but it is really the government primary school on St. Joseph Road. That school was sharing. And I had to, of course, be vociferous and be vehement and to be aggressive and use, of course, language to the minister then. That was Clive Panton was the minister then. And then he said, Mr. Smith, when I made certain statements, he then said, Mr. Smith, you'll get your school. And that is when, of course, Hockett Baptist was, of course, as a consequence of that, Hockett Baptist was there and is now there. Other than that, the parents would have you'd have less school places in these communities that are highly densely populated, but poor. So you'll understand that you would have been spinning top in mud. It would have been an exercise in futility. The opportunity, at least for making use of the education, would have been reduced considerably because of the lack of school space, as is the case right now with Piccadilly government. And incidentally, I taught at Piccadilly government, so I have a passion for it. And because I am on George Street now, I will be pursuing that with the Ministry of Education. I see the fence it up. I understand that they're putting it for use other than an educational facility. So I will be, of course, doing my duty as I did for the Tranquility Secondary School when the PNM pushed back Palisade fence in order to take part of the people's school to build that monstrosity called Palisade House. Yes. Understand what is happening here. We must be proactive. We must recognize that we are the ones to take up the gauntlet, and we must be, of course, proactive, and we must, of course, take care of our children, our children's children, and their future in particular, and the future of Trinidad and Tobago. We have a duty as citizens. These perfidious, these individuals who have betrayed us, they have, of course, committed high treason, must not be allowed to win. And evil, as we know, cannot prevail over good. Yes, people, all of that took place, man. All of that took place, and it's the time we must tell people that there is much better than the PNM. None of them could, of course, argue or in any way touch with the longest spoon that they may have. The kind of achievements that people in the community recognizing the problem and decide to solve the problem of the community, and therefore they have no place and no right to be in government since they are insensitive. They are either dunderheaded, myopic, and totally devoid of initiatives. A pleasant good night. Caller, call back. There might be some difficulty with it. Yeah, okay. A pleasant good night. Welcome. Pleasant good night. Welcome.
Lennox has just call it correct here.
Yes.
It's not Balizé House, it's Balizé Mall. So I just call it correct here.
Thank you.
Balizé
Mall. All right, I hear you. Yeah, looking like a mall. All right, okay, because over $100 million. And where they get it from is another story. Thank you very much. Of course, that caller will call back there to say it's Balizé Mall. but I'm glad that she put it in that perspective, because we can say, where the asshole they get that money from? Rowley, where they get that money from? Huh? Where all they get that money from? You sell, we say raffle tickets. So what happened? All they closed down the National Lottery Board for about 6 months in order to get that. When you said, of course, in 2015 that you inherited, of course, a party that was totally bankrupt, broken, and therefore it was owing about $5 and counting $1 million, and suddenly in 9 years' time you could build now a Balizé Mall of a monstrous nature, yeah, of steel, mortar, brick. Yeah, how come? Where you get it from? So I'm glad that, of course, that issue was raised this tonight on this program, so that we could clear the air and to, of course, disabuse and to tell them, the sycophants and wishful thinkers of the opposite, eat your heart out. Eat your heart out. You could never prevail, because you have supported evil, and evil not just in terms of the inability to deliver, and of course try to cover up all of that with lies. But the blasted leader, your leader, is a rapist and a pedophile. I'm talking about Rowley, yes. Don't get me vexed, I say it tonight, man. Continue. Let's go to the lines, because I want Gopi Singh to continue in a while. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Good night, Lennox. You hear me loud and clear?
Loud and clear, my friend. Loud and clear, man.
No. But you can't remember he stand up on a podium and say that how he legacy in Trinidad is that he fixed PNM, he built Balizé House.
Yes, he said all of that, and he said his bane, his quota was a devastating, broken PNM, and now you saying you don't want to account for something with over $100 million in 9 years, and the only reason that could be is because there's a relationship between being in government and controlling the purse strings of the country, and of course that monstrosity that you have constructed. Hold on, go ahead, my friend.
And it are people who is listening to that and soaking that and think that is intelligent thing he talk, you know, because for 9 years of people life, people going through hell here. It's all kind of bacchanal every day on the road with this, with police, with that, with lights now. Okay. The only people who see the way is people in Balizé who are associated with Balizé. Because it can't even be Twiggy and where's this woman? This racist woman who
Julia Davy, yes, Julia Davy, yeah.
Yes. All of them, none of them can even say they get something out of them. The only people who eat our food is the ministers and the financiers of them. So everybody fun. You know it's to hold back a whole country for 10 years, Lennox. 10 years you hold back a whole country, no? But they should put you in jail and throw it again.
Showing you that is treason. You have defied and you have gone against every fundamental principle of democracy, of right and wrong, according to Shakespeare in Macbeth. Yeah. To be fair is foul, and to be foul is fair. That's what they say. That is Rowley and the blasted set up corrupt and
Because
evil.
Look, the police service become a set of hustlers now. Police service don't study crime now again, you know. It's only ticketing and this is, to me, like that's a man who really had no set of education, and he get up in the morning and he say, well, let me go and hustle. I go and mix 2 bags of cement, so I go tote some side for somebody down the
And
road.
getting instructions from an incompetent leadership.
Yeah. But there's a gang
instructions
leader.
from incompetent leadership who ought not to be square peg in wrong hole, frankly.
Yeah. But I find if them taking instructions from higher up, I find there is a gang, yes.
Well, of course it is. Of course it is. Whether you are advertent or inadvertent, whether you volunteered or you were forced, the fact is that you are part of the execution mechanism against the people, and you must be held accountable and culpable.
Because look, Lennox, you talking about education. The other day, a police partner man showing me phone. Them had to go to the grocery in extra foods in Grandi. He on patrol with some soldiers. He had to go in it. Three or four little boys under the age of 11 or 12. Shoplifting in extra foods, and here when you see them, you feel so sad, because you know what they're taking? Chocolate and conkles and all kind of thing. He said he don't know what to do when he go on his airport. He don't know what to do. But he said some of the stuff they buy, and then some of the stuff. He said, but the kind of really rough them up and frighten them and thing. He said, but when I go down by the people in them houses, the kind of conditions. These
it's tragic. I mean, it is horrendous. It is abject poverty we're talking about.
And if they're trying to steal, just to eat a little chocolate and conkles and thing now. So just imagine when they reach in the teens and they start to line wrong the wrong thing, and instead of using the education for bettering the life or making the brain develop, Rowley and them get them weed, you know. If you know how bad I find that weed
to make a bad situation worse, and that is if they are able to go to school at all in the first place, as you have indicated. But that is how shambolic, how chaotic the situation is, and it can get better. It's going to get worse with fellas like them at the helm. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me tell you something, Lennox. I have some cousins living in Canada.
Yeah.
And there's weed smokers, There's weed smokers. But let me tell you something, in first world countries, they're so strict with the law that them don't really drink and thing, you know, them they smoke weed.
Right.
But down here, man smoking, punching, weed.
Yeah, everything, all in one. First they want to drown their sorrows. But of course, I have another caller on the line.
All right, easy.
Yes, thank you very much, of course, caller. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Yeah, this is San Fernando calling back.
Yes, my friend.
I want to ask a question here.
Go ahead.
It's 5 year. It's a 5 year period. You either sit in government or opposition, right?
Repeat that, Mayor.
I say it's a 5 year period that you either sit in government
or in opposition. Yeah. Yeah.
Or in opposition.
Cycle, yes. 5 year cycle.
Rowley was in opposition between 2010 and 2015.
Yes.
And if he ask in the media that he want to see the 100 schools that Kamala Processor built, where was he? Was he sitting down in the parliament when all of that was going on?
But even if because he was made to open one in his constituency some time ago, and he said to them, and you know, these fellas just speak as if they are classic acidine specimen of inhumanity. These people are supposed to be part of the placenta as opposed to be a live birth. But that's another story. But when Kamala Prasad went and opened one of the schools in his constituency in Canada, you know what that man turned and said? He said the first criticism is that it should have a window here. That's the first one. And secondly, he had the audacity to make the people know, you and I, that he tried to, of course, get the school to go up another floor. He was Minister of Planning. He tried to make it go up another floor, and he was unsuccessful in his own constituency. Quite apart, of course, from what I told you with respect, of course, to him depriving the downtrodden in his constituency of hampers around Christmas time when Kamala Prasad Bisesa was Prime Minister. I mean, this man is despicable.
Really, true. It is so. And then too, the one that is really the tape that is really laugh at is the one, and you should I mean I myself vexed according to some of your callers.
Right, you have to get vexed. yeah, get vexed, man. That is permissible.
The one that I like is where the minister went to open that one school, right? And what $10 million spent, and you really could.
Yeah, that's St. George's College. Yeah. Iconic school. You see the place still rampful, and I'm using a very, like I say, descriptive word, rampful with construction material strewn all over the place, and you still had the audacity to go and read from your script, saying that you paid $10 million to reconstruct, and claiming that is a brand new refurbished school. I mean, what kind of asses are we encouraging and, of course, promoting? Well, I shouldn't say we. I should say the PNM, because, of course, clearly they have lost their credibility. They have lost their viability. They have lost their credence, and should be relegated to the dustbin of political history in this country. Go ahead, my friend.
And even before that, before she opened that school, when there was a clip that you played where Rowley was still asking about the schools.
Yes.
There was another clip that you played, and that same education minister sat down in the audience and was clapping.
Yeah, was clapping. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was when. That's what that same. At the beginning of this clip, you will see where he was asking, well, she was at that, but I couldn't put in that because I want to make them see, and the sycophants and those who want to believe in a dribble or the elasticity of a dribble, that it doesn't make sense.
True. So, that's what I call it, but you should keep playing that one when she was clapping also.
All right, okay, I certainly will.
Yeah,
I'll find it. Okay, but I think this is crucial to tell them the whole 106 schools, eat your heart out to do what you want. There's nothing you could do about that. Facts are facts. And Rowley and his hooligan and despicable and egregious disrespect for progress and development, and trying to, of course, use hoodwinking and gaslighting in order to promote himself as some kind of political evil guru. We will show him where to get the hell off. Blue lights and silver bracelet for all of them. Let's continue.
Rio Claro Presbyterian, Grand Street, and the Minister of Finance now will also remember when we went up to Paramin and we opened the Paramin RC School in his presence.
Just in case, of course, you just joined us, let me start from the beginning just to tell you. Tim Gopi Singh, the Minister then of Education, was responding, of course, to this question asked by this, what I consider to be totally out of it and mentally, criminally deranged. Mentally, criminally deranged, and of course a fellow who has lost touch with reality. Lost touch with reality. He being the Prime Minister, he ought to know. But he lies so much. Now he lying to your own self and lying on top he lie. Listen to him.
When you hear Mrs. Prasad Bisesa say that they built 100 schools while they were in office, I heard of that nonsense last week again. They built 100 schools. I want to ask the media to ask Mrs. Prasad Bisesa to give you, the media, a list of the 100 schools that they built when they were in government.
I think that he spoke about on the political platform approximately a week or week and a half ago. and that is that he wanted us from the opposition to give him the list of schools that we have constructed during our period 2010 to 2015. But it is incumbent for me, as the former Minister of Education, to give the names of the schools because the Honorable Prime Minister has asked for the lists of the schools country without doing anything to these early childhood education centers. So we set about to construct those 24 early childhood education, and amongst them, so out of the 69 early childhood care and education centers we constructed, Arangwes Johnny King Road, Arima New, Aruka Pine Haven, Bamboo in Jaffat Street, Bamboo, Ben Lomond, Bonaire at corner of Olivine Avenue and Blue Mussel Street, Brothers, number 73 Garth Road, Williamsville. These are the early childhood education centers. Nintendo, Hillside Gardens, Carlson Field, Tasker Road, Cashew Gardens, Caroni SDMS, Cora Royal Road, Lagoya Road, Cora.
Yes, indeed. Let's go to the lines. Of course, we give way to the callers at all times. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Lennox, I call back in.
Yes.
Hey, I was going to ask a question anyway. The last caller answered the question.
Okay.
About where he was, where was he living, where he was to know that Olive School was built. You know.
Nobody, but
you know, I was going to ask the same question. Yeah.
But the greater question is, where is he being Prime Minister and don't know that all these schools were constructed? I mean, to me, you know, is the more
when opposition and now the Prime Minister, there's no way that
just imagine. So you should not have been Prime Minister. I could understand if you're in opposition and you ask those questions because you're in opposition. But you are Prime Minister. You are in charge of the government of the country. You're in charge of the resources of the country.
Exactly. He should know everything that goes on there.
That's right.
He should know everything what's happening.
So it is asinine.
And the next question again. What is the purpose of the Balizé house? They spend so much money on it.
Well,
it has nothing to do with the economy. You have nothing to do with the economy.
Yeah.
You have nothing to do with infrastructure of the country. What is that about? What is spending all this money for on that Balizé house? What's the reason?
Somebody says I'm all. Somebody says I'm all building.
I understand, but what is the purpose of that, and knowing that the economy is running like that and taking all this money and spending behind a building?
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
That is their priority. That is how sinful these people are. Yeah. That is how evil they are. That is how disrespectful they are to the population. That is how egotistic they are. And is a narcissism and self-serving to the hilt based on corruption, because it's only corruptly you could have been able to build that in these very Gova season time.
Well, the only suggestion, only things I think in my mind is not about the building. I don't think they care about the building now. They care about the corruption, the backlash they get, how much money they could get out of that. How much money, and showing the people that they're building something, but they're getting something off of that. They can't do it for nothing.
No, I want to tell you, no. It's not even that. Because that is supposed to be a private P&M project. Has nothing to do with the public's interest. That's the party alone. So if you're talking corruption, then it means, therefore, they are, of course, engaged in kickbacks on projects.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
I just thought that itself.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
That what they get out, something out of that means they get a kickback.
Oh, right. They get a
from
kickback.
The construction. Yeah. That they cost that amount of money to build.
From projects
but whoever building that place get a kickback.
Yeah. From projects that ostensibly is in the public's interest, like those roads and community centers and libraries and so on, that is unnecessary, that they have been constructing all over the place. Yeah. That I agree.
Yeah, but I don't really, I don't think they really care about that building. They care about the kickback.
Kickback, right? Okay, I hear you, my friend. All right, no problem.
They don't really care about that building. It's Balize, what Balize? They don't care about that. They care about the kickback.
Yeah.
Why you want to build a building like that and for no purpose? For what? They giving nothing for the country. They do nothing for that. I just a building.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes, I hear you. And just to reinforce, thank you very much. And just to reinforce the direction in which this scholar is taking the discussion or the argument, let me say up front that he claimed that not one contractor contracted by the government worked at Balize House. Well, I have in my possession a picture of Jusamco, a subsidiary of Junior Sammy, pouring concrete, not on the superstructure, you know. No steel frame was up yet, you know. Was pouring concrete on the basement. They have a under the level of the road basement that they constructed with that building. They say ostensibly is for car parking. Well, Jusamco was pouring concrete there. And don't get me vexed before I think it tonight, you know. Don't get me vexed. But let's continue, of course, with the schools confirmation. Since Rowley, as Prime Minister, don't know, so I can imagine how much things he don't know, or has he at all cared to know? I wonder. Because I mean, here it is. Udicut would have known, and Udicut is part of the portfolio of the Prime Minister. He put that under his wings. Of course, with the corrupt manager or chairman of that, what is considered to be his sidekick, another sidekick, or his bagman, a totally corrupt person. And I say so without fear of contradiction. I'm talking about, of course, Noel Garcia. Let's go straight to the line. Professor, good night, welcome.
Lennox, you know it has some PNM stucco fans outside here.
Yes.
You could name these schools. You could carry them by the schools and still they ain't gonna believe that, you know.
Of course, they could say it's a picture made out of clouds or wind. they will do that. That is how dunderheaded they are and how realistic. But unrealistic, I should say, yes. Go ahead.
Them is a special kind of dotation, boy. It's too many that make them. But listen now, man, Lennox, the kind of stupidity that we have running for governance in this country is unprecedented, you know, man.
Yes, sir. Unbelievable as well.
Yeah, and shutting down refinery. You know that refinery thing come like TTT. Remember TTT was state-owned by the government, right?
Yes.
They shut it down, Lennox, when it was losing money.
Yeah.
And they rebranded it and bring it as CNMG.
Yes.
Right? It come back as CNMG and it bust again. You know, they shut it down and rebranded as TTT again.
Yeah, they got back. They're nostalgic. They living in the past. And they're anachronistic. They call it people living in the past and trying, of course, to try to, in this case, hoodwink people to make it look as though it's fresh. But all of that is part of their political survival vein that they would engage in. But the people is clearing their minds, and it's just a matter of calling the blasted elections so that we get rid of them once and for all, and we begin the process of totally annihilating that entity called the PNM. They must not survive. They must not. The roots must be cut out, and the seeds, of course, poisoned.
I don't understand
Never
how
to
people
rise.
can be.
Yeah.
I don't understand how people can be seeing hardship and catch still in this place and want more, you know, and they want more taxes, they want more everything, boy.
Well,
boy.
One what I consider to be a reasonable and respected person on whom I depend for advice and so on, he said that if it is that they don't want to march, etc., it may well mean that is the extent to which they depend on Kamala Prasad Bisesa to deliver them out of the quagmire, the mess, and the mayhem that Rowley and they have put Trinidad and Tobago. And I tending to believe it. They depend on Kamala Prasad Bisesa, the UNC, to get them out no matter what. So there is no need for them to be so aggressive or make their presence felt by way of numbers.
Oh, Lennox, they shame. They go march, you know, as soon as Kamala and the UNC come back in office, they go learn to march.
Well, I want to be a wrong boy. I will be in the face. I will be all over them. I will be like salt among every one of them, because we know that there's a collective of poison ivy that must be, of course, uprooted and delivered to the abyss of no return.
I never see people lost suffering like that now, boy.
Yes,
want more. And on top of that, the man telling you from up in front, it's going to be hardship until 2027. So you want for me to 3 more years of that?
After he read a beautiful budget saying that people are expecting hardship. And then tell the court, because he had no choice, tell the court the truth in an affidavit. I mean, these fellas are con men, they are criminals, and they must be treated as such. And blue lights and silver bracelets certainly await them.
But I don't know that, boy. You can't be telling me that, oh, you give me hard, you have me going through hardship and give me more again, and I go accept that, boy. I gotta be a special kind of notice to come and vote for that.
And worse yet, they're telling you that that's the best thing that could happen. So what Kamala and they had offered or had delivered between 2010 and 2015 is impossible. It's impossible to revisit after they would have left office. So put them back. You see them people mad?
A man say today that was the worst thing ever happened between 2009 and 2015. And in fact, if you put the UNC back in office, they're going to be 10 times worse from then.
But yeah, that's because they listen to Rowley and their rhetoric. We know that. So thanks very much. Let me see if I can finish, because it's after 10 already. We started on time. Let me see if I can finish those schools. Very important that we disabuse and let them eat the heart out.
Rochard Road, Clark Rochard and Rochard Road. Current Hills, HDC site. Kunjal, number 214, Kunjal Main Road. Kush, the corner of Kunapo, Southern Main Road, the Kush Village. Edinburgh South, HDC site. Egypt Oasis, in Das Trace in Kunopia. Egypt Trace in Endeavour Road. El Dorado ECC, Enterprise in Cedar Road. Faizabad, number 22 Road. Gasparillo ECC. Golconda, Harmony Hall, number 24. Jacob Hill, 25. La Horquetta, South Gladius Street, La Horquetta. La Rofin, Lisa Gardens, Lower Komoto, Madras, Malabar, Pomegranate Avenue. Malabar in corner Lennox Yearwood Expressway, Polybitodio, 7 Flamingo. Maloney in Jacana Avenue, Maloney Gardens. Maloney in Flamingo Boulevard, Maloney. Marabella, Light Pole 51, that's number 35. Maracas, ECC 36. Mirage Hill 37. Maraval, Montcoco Road, I pass there and I see it all the time. Mendez, Pinal Queenham Road, Milton, corner Temple Street and Judingham Drive. Morva, Mount Hope, Pioneer Drive and Sunshine Avenue. Monroe Road, SDMS, Warren Road, Kunupia. Oropun Gardens, number 44. Palmis, 45. Phoenix Park Road in California. Pleasantville, Prince Albert Street, Pleasantville. Quarry Village, La Brea Trace. Ragunanan Road Enterprise, number 49. Rancho Comado, number 6, South Trace, Rancho Comado, 50. Ravine Sab, Londonville, that's in my constituency. Reform Government, ECC Reform. Retrench HDC site, Roystonia in Salaka Drive. Salazar Trace in Salazar, Point Forte. Sonny Lado, ECC. Southern Gardens. Springvale, ECC in Springvale. St. Ambrose, Anglican, Jackman Trace, Kunupia. St. Anne's, number 8, St. Anne's Gardens, St. Anne's. Number 61, St. Augustine, corner Warren and St. John's Road. 62, St. Barbara Spiritual Shouter Baptist. Members will remember that. 63, St. Columba Anglican. 64, St. Mary's Village. 65, Union Hall. 66, Valencia in Armadillo Drive, New Valencia Gardens, Valencia. Wallerfield, corner of Churchill Roosevelt Highway and Amazon Drive, Wallerfield. Warrenville TIA, Robert Trace, that's number 68, and number 69, Wellington Road, HDC site, Wellington Road, Davie. So, Mr. Deputy Speaker, in answer to the Prime Minister's question, we have in Parliament today given the list of the 69 early childhood education centres which we constructed and completed, the 31 primary schools which we started and completed, 6 secondary schools which were completed by us, and an additional block. Mr. Speaker, these are the 169 ETC centres, 21 primary schools, 6 secondary schools completed under the Kamala Prasad Bisesa administration.
When you hear Mrs. Prasad Bisesa say that they built 100 schools while they were in office, I heard of that nonsense last week again. They built 100 schools. I want to ask the media to ask Mrs. Prasad Bisesa to give you, the media, a list of the 100 schools that they built when they were in government.
I think that he spoke about on the political platform approximately a week and a half ago. And that is that he wanted us from the opposition to give him the list of schools that we have constructed. We have in Parliament today given the list of the 69 early childhood education centres which we constructed and completed, the 31 primary schools which we started and completed, 6 secondary schools which were completed by us, and an additional block. Mr. Speaker, these are the 169 ETC centres, 21 primary schools, 6 secondary schools completed under the Kamala Prasad Bisesa administration.
So the Treasury broke and they say that recession jamming. So foreign countries really start migrating. They lose faith in the country, they say we gone down the drain. They say no more could we see happy times again.
Yes, indeed, people, of course, under a Rowley and PNM administration, not under the incoming Kamala Prasad Bisesa administration. So, of course, people, I think we have proven our case. We did so with flair, grace, and with unquestionable veracity, or the veracity of which cannot be questioned. Let us not waste time. And as I said, of course, I began, of course, by showing where people are taking initiative. And if you do it once, as Kamala Prasad Bisesa and they did between 2010 and 2015, you can do it again. And I'm saying that that initiative and that perspective, that position is also consistent, or is attributed, or can be also attributed to an initiative like the MLIO, the Mobile Laventille Improvement Organization, of which a team of us came together, and as a consequence of which in Laventille, we graduated over 6,000 young persons between 1984 and, let's say, essentially 2000. And they are, of course, you can find them in the police service and the army, one of which went, of course, into the United Kingdom's Air Force. You can find them, of course, in the media. You could find them at the PTSC. You could find them on the wharf, etc. The point I am making by saying that is that if we did not make that kind of intervention, that would have been 600 additional young people of the type we are concerned with today, engaging in crime and criminality, gang warfare, and of course, home invasion, etc., and robberies and murders. If we did make that intervention, and I'm saying today, it is still relevant and is more relevant today that we take charge of our young people, that we take charge of our responsibility, and that we, of course, move inexorably and with a monolithic commitment, like, of course, Atlas, with a heavy burden, and carrying, of course, Trinidad and Tobago on our shoulders, and say to them, if we do it once, we can do it twice, as Kamala Prasad Bisesa did between 2010 and 2015, as, of course, the MLIO and other initiatives like these can be done. Because the same people are there with the prowess, the zeal, the temperament, and of course the enthusiasm to, of course, deliver to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, particularly the downtrodden, and of course those who are poor and have been displaced. It is about time we understand that we must jettison, because these fellas are like hot air. They are singing loud and saying nothing. They are like empty vessels, making plenty noise, but deliver nothing. Of course, contrary to their elitist agenda, where they deliver to themselves as they try to empty the treasury in their favor, put it in their respective pockets, and then, of course, we must remain silent and subscribe to that level of abuse. We say no. We say no. And education, of course, is the area that we must begin the process of liberating our people and our country, and of course, as we develop human capacity and ability to transform not only individual lives, not only families, not only communities, not only neighborhoods, not only cities, and not only villages, but in the entire Trinidad and Tobago, as it moves like a conflagration, a huge fire across Trinidad and Tobago, when Kamala Prasad Bisesa and the UNC take charge of the government of this country. And of course, people like myself are expected, of course, to play their role because they know what to do. A bunch of nincompoops, asinine specimen of inhumanity, only, of course, google gaggle and engage, of course, in a level of hypocrisy and a level of nonsensicality. And like all of them are subjected to intellectual, cerebral, cognitive, and educational decline. People, of course, we have come to the end of tonight's program. I trust that, of course, you would have learned and gleaned much more than when we started. And so tomorrow will be another day. Tomorrow night, of course, we will continue on the corridor transformation. Remember, we have not yet completed that forex. We seem not to have time. We're running out. It's already 20 past 10. Only go catch me tonight because I had to cop out on the ground report this morning. I don't want to do that in 2 days straight. And don't forget, of course, Andy, Mike, and myself tomorrow morning on the ground report from 6 in the morning to 8 o'clock on both channels, the YouTube as well as, of course, Facebook. And then, of course, from there, with Facebook and YouTube still on, we'll be joined, of course, simultaneously by, of course, Gael, the Caribbean channel, where we're going to, of course, be on television and talking, of course, to the rest of the Caribbean, the hemisphere, and the world. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. And see you, of course, tomorrow morning and tomorrow night.
Don't show we patriotism, for we country's nation.
that is our. So the Treasury broke and they say that recession jamming. So foreign countries really start migrating. They lose faith in the country, they say we gone down the drain. They say no more could we see happy times again. But the will to recover in my people like have confidence. Although many may seem to feel that I talk it nonsense. But the majority of we decide we're not going to run, because now is the time to show we patriotism. For we country facing, it's that is our. So our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, it have one little thing that I want you always remember. We could make it if we try. Just a little harder. If we just get one more try, life could be much sweeter.
Hey everyone, today I want to share something truly transformative happening right here in Trinidad and Tobago. Let's talk about the Morvant Laventille Improvement Organization, better known as MLIO. Now, you might be wondering, what's MLIO all about? Well, it's a grassroots initiative aiming to uplift and empower the communities in Morvant and Laventille. These are areas that have faced significant challenges, including crime, poverty, and limited access to opportunities. But MLIO is flipping the script. They're not just addressing problems, they're creating solutions. Through a range of programs focused on education, health, and community development, MLIO is making a tangible difference. Take their education programs, for example. They're providing after-school tutoring, scholarships, and even vocational training. Kids who might have fallen through the cracks are now dreaming big and achieving even bigger. That's the power of education. Health is another cornerstone of MLIO's mission. They've set up health clinics, organized fitness activities, and run campaigns to raise awareness about crucial health issues. The result? A healthier, more informed community ready to take on the world. And let's not forget community development. MLIO hosts workshops on entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and leadership skills. They're not just giving a fish, they're teaching how to fish. People are starting businesses, getting jobs, and becoming role models in their own right. But what really sets MLIO apart is their heart. This organization isn't just about projects and programs. It's about people. It's about neighbors helping neighbors and communities rising together. The spirit of unity and resilience is palpable, and it's changing lives every single day. So, if you're a community leader looking for inspiration, look no further than MLIO. This is proof that with a clear vision and a lot of heart, real change is possible. Let's continue to support and champion initiatives like MLIO. Together, we can create brighter futures for all. Thanks for your attention, and remember, change starts with you.
Hey everyone! Today, I want to share something truly transformative happening right here in Trinidad and Tobago. Let's talk about the Morvant Laventille Improvement Organization, better known as MLIO. Now, you might be wondering, what's MLIO all about? Well, it's a grassroots initiative aiming to uplift and empower the communities in Morvant and Laventille. These are areas that have faced significant challenges, including crime, poverty, and limited access to opportunities. But MLIO is flipping the script. They're not just addressing problems. They're creating solutions. Through a range of programs focused on education, health, and community development, MLIO is making a tangible difference. Take their education programs, for example. They're providing after-school tutoring, scholarships, and even vocational training. Kids who might have fallen through the cracks are now dreaming big and achieving even bigger. That's the power of education. Health is another cornerstone of MLIO's mission. They've set up health clinics, organized fitness activities, and run campaigns to raise awareness about crucial health issues. The result? A healthier, more informed community ready to take on the world. And let's not forget community development. MLIO hosts workshops on entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and leadership skills. They're not just giving a fish. They're teaching how to fish. People are starting businesses, getting jobs, and becoming role models in their own right. But what really sets MLIO apart is their heart. This organization isn't just about projects and programs. It's about people. It's about neighbors helping neighbors and communities rising together. The spirit of unity and resilience is palpable, and it's changing lives every single day. So, if you're a community leader looking for inspiration, look no further than MLIO. This is proof that with a clear vision and a lot of heart, real change is possible. Let's continue to support and champion initiatives like MLIO. Together, we can create brighter futures for all. Thanks for your attention, and remember, change starts with you.
Hey everyone! Today, I want to share something truly transformative happening right here in Trinidad and Tobago. Let's talk about the Morvant Laventille Improvement Organization, better known as MLIO. Now, you might be wondering, what's MLIO all about? Well, it's a grassroots initiative aiming to uplift and empower the communities in Morvant and Laventille. These are areas that have faced significant challenges, including crime, poverty, and limited access to opportunities. But MLIO is flipping the script. They're not just addressing problems, they're creating solutions. Through a range of programs focused on education, health, and community development, MLIO is making a tangible difference. Take their education programs, for example. They're providing after-school tutoring, scholarships, and even vocational training. Kids who might have fallen through the cracks are now dreaming big and achieving even bigger. That's the power of education. Health is another cornerstone of MLIO's mission. They've set up health clinics, organized fitness activities, and run campaigns to raise awareness about crucial health issues. The result? A healthier, more informed community ready to take on the world. And let's not forget community development. MLIO hosts workshops on entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and leadership skills. They're not just giving a fish, they're teaching how to fish. People are starting businesses, getting jobs, and becoming role models in their own right. But what really sets MLIO apart is their heart. This organization isn't just about projects and programs, it's about people. It's about neighbors helping neighbors and communities rising together. The spirit of unity and resilience is palpable, and it's changing lives every single day. So, if you're a community leader looking for inspiration, look no further than MLIO. This is proof that with a clear vision and a lot of heart, real change is possible. Let's continue to support and champion initiatives like MLIO. Together, we can create brighter futures for all. Thanks for your attention, and remember, change starts with you.
So the Treasury broke and they say that recession jamming. So foreign countries really start migrating. They lose faith in the country, they say we gone down the drain. They say no more could we see happy times again. But the will to recover in my people like have confidence. Although many may seem to feel that I talk it nonsense. But the majority of we decide we're not going to run, because now is the time to show we patriotism. For we country's nation, it's that is our So our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, it have one little thing that I want you always remember. We could make it if we try, just a little harder. If we just get one more try, life could be much sweeter. So the Treasury broke and they say that recession jamming. So foreign countries really start migrating. They lose faith in the country, they say we gone down the drain. They say no more could we see happy times again. But the will to recover in my people like have confidence. Although many may seem to feel that I talk it nonsense. But the majority of we decide we're not going to run, because now is the time to show we patriotism. For we country's nation, it's that is our. So our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, it have one little thing that I want you always remember. We could make it if we try, just a little harder. If we just get one more try, life could be much sweeter. So the Treasury broke and they say that recession jamming. So foreign countries really start migrating. They lose faith in the country, they say we gone down the drain. They say no more could we see happy times again. But the will to recover in my people like have confidence. Although many may seem to feel that I talk it nonsense. But the majority of we decide we're not going to run, because now is the time to show we patriotism. For we country's nation, it's that is our. So our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, it have one little thing that I want you always remember. We could make it if we try, just a little harder. If we just get one more try, life could be much sweeter. Treasury broke and they say that recession jamming. So foreign countries really start migrating. They lose faith in the country, they say we gone down the drain. They say no more could we see happy times again. But the will to recover in my people like have confidence. Although many may seem to feel that I talk it nonsense. But the majority of we decide we're not going to run. Because now is the time to show we patriotism. For we country facing, it's that is our. So our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, it have one little thing that I want you always remember. We could make it if we try. Just a little harder. If we just get one more try, life could be much sweeter. Treasury broke and they say that recession jamming. So foreign countries really start migrating. They lose faith in the country, they say we gone down the drain. They say no more could we see happy times again. But the will to recover in my people like have confidence. Although many may seem to feel that I talk it nonsense. But the majority of we decide we're not going to run. Because now is the time to show we patriotism. For we country facing, it's that is our. So our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, it have one little thing that I want you always remember. We could make it if we try. Just a little harder. If we just get one more try, life could be much sweeter. So the Treasury broke and they say that recession jamming. So foreign countries really start migrating. They lose faith in the country, they say we gone down the drain. They say no more could we see happy times again. But the will to recover in my people like have confidence. Although many may seem to feel that I talk it nonsense. But the majority of we decide we're not going to run. Because now is the time to show we patriotism. For we country facing, it's that is our. So our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, it have one little thing that I want you always remember. We could make it if we try, just a little harder. If we just get one more try, life could be much sweeter.
Hey everyone! Today I want to share something truly transformative happening right here in Trinidad and Tobago. Let's talk about the Morvant Laventil Improvement Organization, better known as MLIO. Now,